Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
From Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Friday. It's Tell a Friend Friday. You know what that means? You got to share this podcast with someone you love. Actually, share it with someone you don't even like. Just share it with somebody. Share it with somebody because you think it'll do them well. Let's face it. We wouldn't be here at 6 a.m. if we didn't think it would do somebody well. So what you got to do is you got to say, hey, I think you would get something out of this. And that's how we pass it around. You can send it on a screenshot and you can tag us. By the way, if you like something we say, jot it down. Jot down like a quote that we say, a takeaway that Mara writes down at the end of the show. Jot it down, make a screenshot, tag us. We'll repost it. We'll tag you. It'll be a whole viral. This is the type of viral pandemic we want, a transcendental pandemic. Good morning, Kastuba. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Let's bring on the pandemic.
Oh, man. Mold in your maple syrup. That's a downer.
Got to deal with it.
You got to deal with it, and it's okay, they say. If you don't refrigerate maple syrup, you will get a blossom, a bloom, so to speak.
Okay.
And I had to strain out some maple syrup, and I had to ask Banjo Mike, my maple syrup expert, even though Mara's claiming to also be an expert. Mara, you got to choose. You ever feel like Mara is like choosing, I'm going to be half on screen. So half of her face is on like a Klingon.
We have it all set, and then you move stuff around. And then
I'm not. Look, this is your spot. Stay right there, okay? I don't want to see like one of your eyes. Like
it's very demanding.
It's Cyclops, Davey. Okay.
All right.
Where are we at today, Kastuba? We got some
Well,
stuff.
we got a
Mara?
nugget, but maybe we check with Mara first, right?
all right, we have a Bhakti recovery group meeting.
Hold it. We can't even hear you. I don't know what's happening nowadays. Like with this mic, when it moves over to the left, it's like it goes out.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Hardly. It's like really quiet.
All right, we have Bhakti recovery group meetings at 12:30 and 1 today. Josh Kane is offering an asana class for our Patreon members at 10:30 a.m. this morning. And we have an interview. We're swapping the Q&A day and the interview day this weekend. So our interview day will be tomorrow at 8 a.m. Do you want to talk about who we're interviewing?
Can't barely even hear you over here.
You can't even hear Mara? How about me?
Can
you hear me?
Yeah, you loud and clear.
Thumbs up, you guys, if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up, Zoomies. Everybody can hear me. All right, Mara, that means you need to project. You need to own your words. You need to step into your persona. Step into your character. Okay, tomorrow I have a really great interview with Vaishnav and Draupadi from Plentitude Farm. This is a place I've been super, super on my radar, and I still haven't gone there yet. They do a very sophisticated permaculture oasis in Puerto Rico. And these guys are like cutting edge permaculture, bringing it close to home. And we got to take a road trip down there. But anyway, we're going to talk about reconnecting with the earth. We're going to talk about natural building because they do a lot of that. They build like these super adobes. We're going to talk about reforesting. No ghosts, no gems.
Okay.
That's last week. I got to keep it fresh, Costuba.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about partner planting and food forests and all good things and foraging and part-time botany. And I'm excited for it.
Great.
We're trying to get
That'll
him
be
on the
good
show
one.
constantly, and it's always been difficult. And he's on tomorrow
Now's the
at
time.
8 a.m.
All right.
Sleeping Saturday. So it's our interview day. We're going to do Q&A on Sunday.
Great.
Sound good?
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, righty. All right, so here's a little a nugget for you, my friend.
Who's it from?
It's from your friend and mine,
Yes.
Mahatma Gandhi.
There you go.
You can just call him Gandhi.
Okay.
The best way to find yourself.
No,
The
just
best
skip
way to
the that
find
at the
yourself-
beginning.
Yeah. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service to others. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself into service of others. You know what?
Yeah.
I've had personal experience of working on my inner issues. And it just sometimes becomes almost self-indulgent. And I remember going through this part, and it's important to work on your inner issues. It's important to self-reflect, but it can almost become ridiculous. It can almost become so self-indulgent that you're just spinning out of control, and almost like a little bit of narcissism blend in there with a twist of narcissism. And I found that as soon as I got married and my wife had 2 little children that I had to take care of, I got out of my own head and I got into just how can I love and educate and, raise and be responsible. And in that service, I felt like I grew up more than I've ever grown up in my life. And it was an incredible chance for me to grow up.
Was it working out the issues that you're talking about?
Yeah, and it was working out the issues. Exactly. It was. Sometimes you get this like analysis paralysis. Knit that into your scarf. I want to wear that analysis paralysis scarf. You think so much that you're not even doing anything and you're not growing. You're just living in your mind constantly. So yeah, I'm saying self-reflection, good. Working out what your stumbling blocks are, good. Watching out for sinkholes coming up, good. Living there in those sinkholes, living in your past trauma, living in should I do this, all the should I's. It can become you can be on lockdown.
Right.
What do you think about that?
I love the quote, and I agree with what you're saying. I think that we have like our default mode, kind of like what in terms of like our illusion in life. I think there's kind of a default mode. We consider this body that I'm in to be me, and we kind of consider it's like it's equipment meant for enjoyment, right? Like the purpose of what I'm doing here in this world. I may not think too deeply about it, and I may come to the conclusion that the purpose of this is to derive as much enjoyment through this vehicle of the body as possible. And then when we think like that, because it's disconnected from truth, we begin to suffer in different ways. And then, like you're saying, we get self-indulgent into dealing, loops in our mind about our issues and our problems and our sufferings. But if we can flip it, right? Mm-hmm. Flip it, and this is the idea that this body is a vehicle for service in the pursuance of self-realization, right? That's the theme. This body isn't meant for me to enjoy. This body is meant for me to use to serve. And if we can do that, everything starts to change, right? So Gandhi's saying you'll find yourself that way. Because why? Because the nature of the self is to serve with love. And if you actually engage in that, you just need someone to tell you that. And if you have faith in what they're saying, then that changes everything. Then you say, okay, let me become the servant, right? Let me dedicate my time and my energy to serving. And then naturally, all the issues that you had, now you're connecting with truth, and a lot of all that head junk just starts to dissipate.
Sometimes when we grow up in these wealthy countries, we have the luxury of self-examination, but self-examination also has a point. Like there is an end goal with self-examination, and it should bring you to devotional service. Like we say that with everything. Everything should bring you to devotional service, even self-examination. But if it's leaving you in this bathtub, hey, bathtubs are good. But if I stay in that bathtub for a week, sort of weird, not getting me cleaner, sort of gross. That is what that right. That's what can go on with this.
Yeah.
And
that
go on. Because I was thinking about these in these rich cultures like America. My grandfather had no time for self-reflection. It was like, how can I take care of my children and my wife so they don't die? And his wife was thinking, how could I take any type of part-time job while taking care of 6 kids in a Brooklyn tenement so they don't die? And sometimes it's like, okay, old one, you're getting out of school. You don't get to go to school because you're also have to think how you're going to take care of your 5 younger sisters so they don't die. We don't have that. We're sitting in luxury. What am I going to do? What is my calling? What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think there's anything. I think even people that were under any circumstances, there's opportunity for self-reflection. But I get what you're saying. Like when there's no mission in life, you can really get lost. You can really be adrift,
Sure.
And I think but here's the point too, that the self-reflection that we do in life, if we're doing it without any type of guidance, we're likely also going to be rudderless and adrift, Like there are texts that have been handed down for thousands of years that wise people have invested time and energy in, that generation after generation has benefited from, worth checking out, worth experimenting
worth
with, worth exposing yourself to, seeing if that you can actually, let me try guiding that self-reflection a bit. Oh, you're telling me that underneath it all, we're designed to love and to serve? Interesting theory. Let me try practicing it. Let me see how it feels. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll find more meaning and happiness in life when I drop the previous strategy, which may have involved so many ridiculous things, right? Running to the bars, dating, casual sex, pursuit of money, without any clear purpose, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe that's not working, and the other thing makes sense, that I'm not meant to be the central enjoyer in the equation. I'm meant to serve, and through service, the happiness that is my nature begins to arise. And we call that self-realization, right? You realize your true nature, the true nature of the self, which is blissful.
One of the beautiful byproducts of self-realization, you start to realize, like, man, I've been living in this ugly version of myself, projecting this version of myself that has nothing to do with me. And that's like some of the first realizations people get on the spiritual path. Like, I was presenting myself to be something I'm totally not whatsoever. It had to do with my career. It had to do with my home. It had to do with me as a parent or a player or a, ladies man or a physical body, but it has nothing to do with who I actually am.
Yeah. You know what we call these, Raghunath? Upadhis. Upadhis, false designations, right?
False designations. Yes.
False designations. Yeah. They don't satisfy.
Well, they're not us. It's like trying to go through our life wearing a big Mickey Mouse costume. It's weird. It's peculiar. You'll never feel at peace. There's always people trying to figure you out. What?
Don't stay in the bathtub for a week.
Yeah, write that down, Mary. No bathtubs, no baths.
And wearing a Mickey Mouse costume will ultimately be dissatisfying.
It won't be satisfying. I mean, it's fun for a few days, maybe a special occasion.
Okay, but we're doing these things. We're actually, at least, metaphorically, we're staying in the bathtub for weeks at a time. We're walking around in Mickey Mouse costumes. Mickey, Minnie,
Donald,
back and forth. Okay, all right.
Alrighty.
Well, let's keep it moving then. Let's move on to Bhagavatam, as Rishabdev wraps up his message to his sons.
Sure. Okay, Mary, want to get us on this thing? Because I'm lost. By the way, someone, won't mention a name, sent me a Christmas present of a rock polisher.
Oh, we
because
talked about that like years ago on the show, right?
I don't think we know who it is, but they know because I mentioned on a show I always wanted a rock polisher as a child. So as a Christmas
Tumblr?
present, I got it. I re-gifted it to my son,
Okay. But you're using it and he's
but
not.
I'm using it right now to polish rocks. And guess what? There's only a few hours left, and now the rocks are going to come out polished.
It's a tumbler, right? It tumbles the rock.
It's a tumbler. It's a tumbler. Yeah.
Alright.
Okay.
Do
Text
they even make
27.
those anymore?
They make them. They make
It
them.
wasn't like a vintage one.
It wasn't a vintage rock polisher that you can still get these. NationalGeographic.com. Om Namo no. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama bhakti bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Okay.
Sweet baby Krishna, we've been living on sweet baby Krishna land, Kastuba.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been really nice way. I was so tired last night, and I did it anyway, and it was great. I'm glad I did it.
You doing tonight?
I would like to. Can we put people on hold? What do you do, Mary? Do you send it out to Patreon members? Do you send a link?
Yeah, we use the same.
But
But
do you
I
know?
post on
But do you?
Discord.
Oh, wait a second. So you're not sending it out to all the Patreon members every day when there's a thing?
I post on Discord.
You
with
put-
Sweet Baby Krishna, but I use the same link.
She posted on Discord. I'm not interested in the link. I'm just interested in people knowing about it.
Yeah, I post on Discord.
You posted on
Sweet
Discord.
Baby Krishna.
Yeah. Are people even on Discord?
I think
people
there's a
still
thriving
doing
Discord
Discord?
community that we're like totally detached from. I think there's even still a, what's the other one called?
WhatsApp?
There's
There's
No,
still a Telegram. Do you
Telegram.
go to those threads? You do, and you put it on those threads.
Telegram's not called Patreon first.
Okay. All right,
but
gotcha.
Discord's also-
Discord. Okay, Discord.
But why not put it up on Patreon? Put it on the
yeah.
Patreon thread.
Yeah, I just the Patreon goes.
Speak.
The Patreon goes to people's email, and I don't want to clog up people's emails every day when Raghu
Oh,
decides.
but the people want to know.
Yeah,
People
they
want to
should
know.
wanna
join
know.
Discord.
Oh, well, but what if they're not there? Then let people. Then let
well,
them
we
know.
announced it on the show. Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. All right.
All right. People say they don't mind the Discord. I mean, they don't mind the email.
Yeah, but other people may not ever hear about it. Anyway, we can work this out another time.
Okay. Can we have a wrestling match about this too? And then we'll end with embraces, holding
Okay.
pinkies. Page Family Bhakti says, definitely send the email. Henry wants emails. Marilyn, they're
Dana
crazy.
K.
Okay. Okay. I mean, we do pay you a lot of money for all this. Mara, poor Mara. She does a lot of work, people. She does a lot of work.
She does.
Maybe she
Thank
has a
you,
Google
Mara.
calendar. Okay.
Yeah, we
Okay,
do.
let's get in the
Is it
box.
on the Google calendar? But we don't. We got to tell him then. Okay. Okay. All right, people.
Text 27, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Now this is the last verse. The last instruction comes from Rishabh before he walks off. Raghunath, when he walks off, he's going to do some wild stuff.
It's like drop the mic. I've given you instructions. Like, what are the last instructions I'm going to give to my kids?
Well, this is the very last one's about to come. But after that, he's going to like live like a madman. People are going to look at him. They're going to think he's crazy. He's not crazy,
No,
but he's just
crazy.
total external appearance of a madman.
That's
but
why
he's
I
deep.
say, whenever you see someone who's crazy,
Careful.
you got to be
Respect
careful.
them.
You never know. They could just be doing their thing in their own internal world.
You got to think that way.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear the
Okay.
verse.
Text 27. The true activity of the sense organs, mind, sight, words, and all knowledge gathering and working senses is to fully engage in my service.
Service of Lord Vishnu, Krishna.
Yeah. Unless his senses are thus engaged, a living entity cannot think of getting out of the great entanglement of material existence, which is exactly like Yamaraj's stringent rope.
Stringent rope.
It's a stringent
So
rope.
who's Yamaraj? Who's Yamaraj?
Yamaraj, he mets out everything. He weighs everything out at the end of life and say, you know what? We got to even this out. You've gone a little south. We got to bring you a little bit north. You got a little bit north. He gives you your karma. It's got nothing to do with God. He's working. He's a pure devotee. He's a pure devotee, and it's sort of like being a meter maid.
Dealing out justice.
He's
He's
like
dealing
being
out
a
justice.
meter maid. The meter maid. Can you say meter maid anymore? Is that politically incorrect? A meter master?
Reader.
Meter reader. If you're a meter reader, and no one likes the meter readers because you're walking back to your car and you see them writing you a ticket. It's like, hey, come on. I was 5 minutes late. I was 5 minutes late. You're going to give me it's like Santa Monica. You get like $150 ticket. I used to be like depressed all day after that. But the thing is, it's like, look, I'm just doing my job. It's just my job. Or the guy who's in charge of towing trucks. He's just doing his job. He didn't call the tow truck. They called him to tow your car. Yamaraj is that person. He's a pure devotee of Krishna. He's a great devotee. He's just doing his job. Don't hate the messenger. Don't kill the messenger. So Yamaraj has to give out punishment. That's his job in this world. Krishna doesn't give punishment. Krishna's enjoying love sports, eating sweet balls, crawling around, speaking in broken language. He's adorable. But Yamaraj, he's got a tough gig to do, which is dealing with people who are trapped in that cycle of birth and death, who are caught in
correctional facility. He's the correctional agent. Correctional
agent. Warden.
Yeah.
Don't hate the warden.
The penal system.
Hate the crimes that you're doing to put yourself in this system. Huh?
Okay. Well,
don't hate the warden.
Well,
Take
so let's start
responsibility for being in prison.
Fair enough. Now let's go back to the beginning of this verse and start again. The true activities of the sense organs.
Yeah.
And then mentions the mind, the sight, the words that we use, and all knowledge gathering and working senses. Okay, so knowledge gathering senses we're familiar with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those would include?
Mara. I hate these senses questions. You just do.
What? Come on, you know the senses.
Touching. What am I in third grade? Touching,
Yeah,
smelling. Like, come on, Raghu. Can you count on your fingers, Raghu?
There's then sight, sound, smell, taste, smelling.
Touch. Yes.
Okay, but then in the yoga philosophy, there's 5 more. These are the working senses, right?
Yes.
Name
tell
those.
Me. Just tell me. Let's not play this game.
So it's the ability to grip, like, you could say the hands, the ability to move about. You could say the legs if you want to. The vocal power that we have, as well as organs for like sexual organs and organs for evacuation, right? Those are the 5 senses of action. And then you add to that the mind, and you have 11 senses altogether, because the mind is kind of the center of all the senses. It's where all the sense data is processed and stored, right? So it's saying that's our body, really. Essentially our body is made of these senses. And it's saying that the true activity for these senses is to engage them in service, just like Gandhi was saying, right?
Yep, just like Gandhi.
Okay. And then it says, so here's a message, right? This is a message to each one of us, spoken by this incredible sage who's about to walk off into the forest, right? That all of your senses, including all 10 of those, they have a purpose. You might think that the purpose is to suck enjoyment through them. He said that's not the purpose. The purpose of them are engaged in service. And unless they're thus engaged, a living entity cannot think of getting out of the entanglement of material existence. The more that you think that this world is meant for me to enjoy, it's like quicksand. You sink in deeper and deeper. Or it's being said here, it's like a stringent rope. It's like you're tied up. You can't get out of it. All right. You want to hear why don't you read the commentary?
I'm going to read the Yamunastikam right here. Check this out. Sri Yamuna Devi prevents one from having to go to the city of her brother, Yama.
Oh.
Interesting. You worship the great devotees, and then all of a sudden Yama backs off. Yamaraj backs off.
Nice.
Message board also says that Yama is the
son of Surya, brother of Shani.
Brother of Shani. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay. Purport. As stated in the Narada Pancharatra.
Okay, that's a book by Narada Muni, right? The great Bhakti sage.
Yeah, I won't read the Sanskrit.
But this verse is also quoted
again and again.
Yeah, it's there in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is a very important book on Bhakti. Okay,
I'll just say it because you'll hear it a lot. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tatpara vena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchyate. This is where everyone loves the city of Rishikesh when they go to India. Well, this is where you hear this word for Vishnu, Rishikesh. This is the conclusion of bhakti. All the time, Lord Rishabhadev has been stressing bhakti, devotional service. And now he's concluding by saying that all of the senses should be engaged in the Lord's service. There are 5 senses by which we gather knowledge and 5 senses with which we work. These 10 senses and the mind should be fully engaged in the Lord's service. Without engaging them in this way, one cannot get out of the clutches of Maya.
Okay.
All the senses. This is what the word Rishikesh means. He's the person whom we should be engaging our senses in service of.
Right. And so here's that word upadhi, right? Sarva upadhi vinir muktam, right? Sarva means all. Yeah. So all upadhis vinir muktam, you become free from them. All your false designations. Let's hear some false designations.
I'm a father.
Okay. Why is that false?
It's only false because it's not real in the biggest picture. In the moment, I'm a father, but in past, present, and future. Yeah. So to be true, it's got to be true in all phases of time. So past, present, and future, I'm not a father. At one time, I was just a little boy, a son. And before that, who knows what I was. Right. So it's a transitory situation. It's a transitory situation.
Okay.
What other ones? I'm an owner of a large company, or I'm a, what do you call it?
False designation.
I'm a gardener, all right? I'm a man. I'm an American. I'm a Democrat, Republican.
False.
I'm bald. I'm
false.
I'm short. I'm tall, right?
That's false too, yeah.
I'm a good person. I'm an evil, right? I'm a good person. I'm an evil person.
I mean,
right?
I'm not going to...
Whatever. I'm a human being. False.
I
am not a human being. Isn't that interesting? So everybody say that right now. I am not a human being. That is your what do they call it? Affirmation today. I'm not a human being. I'm a pure spirit soul. That's what I am. That's true. Right. That's all we can say. That's true about us.
So what the yoga philosophy is telling us is that our mind, our computer, right, that we are interpreting the world through, that it's programmed with false ideas about what will make us happy. I need this, I need that. But all of that's connected to a false identity, a false conception of who I am, right? I'm a man, so, I need a woman, or I need a certain type of reputation, or I need a certain amount of money, or I'm an American, so therefore, I need this and I need that. It's saying that all of those are temporary and therefore ultimately unreal, ultimately untrue. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam, all of our false designations, we can become free from the clutch of that, once we identify with, here's the thing. If you're made of pure spiritual energy that's eternal, that's blissful by nature, and you identify with something that's less glorious than that, like a material lump of blood, bone, mucus, bile, air, the body, you put yourself in a very difficult position. Now you're identifying with something that's due to suffer, that's due to grow old, that's due to die, that, and you attach your sense of worth to that. Any insult to that, you feel pain from. Any damage to that, you feel, but you don't have to, because it's really not you. So the yogis kind of caught on to this. They said, oh, these upadhis, these are false designations. The goal of life should be to become free from that, because it's just wasting all our potential, right?
It
So
confuses
sarva
us.
vinir mukta. Yeah.
It's confusing. The material world is very confusing.
It makes us very vulnerable.
Well,
right?
it has us going, not just, it makes us very vulnerable, but it has us like, just get it, instead of like, here's where you got to go. You're at point A, you got to go to point B. It has us just taking detours around. Like the story of the lady with her guru, and the guru said, "Here, I want you to go in the Bhagavad Gita." I can't read the Bhagavad Gita. It's like, I got so much stuff going on in my mind. She says, "Well, go to a cave. Go to a cave." So she goes to the cave and she's reading, and then she hears a little mouse in the cave. And the mouse is like driving her crazy. She's like, "What am I going to do with this mouse? This mouse is driving me crazy." So I'll get a cat for that mouse. And the cat is a very good mouser. But now she needs to take care of a mouse, because the cat would not, she needs to take care of a cat because that cat would not just drink water. So she had to get she thought, I'm going to get a cow for this cat. So she gets some milk. So every morning she's milking. She's like, it's so hard. I want to study this Bhagavad Gita, but I got to take care of this cat with the milk. And now I got to take care of this cow. And the cow goes to the bathroom. And this cow's a whole thing to have. So he's like, you know what? I need a guy in my life who can take care of this cow. So she gets a cowherd fella, but she ends up falling in love with the cowherd fella. They pop out a couple kids. One of the kids is very artistic, likes to draw a lot. And the other kid is like a cricket fan. And he's always needs to go to cricket practice. Cricket practice is twice a week, and they have a game on Saturdays.
Okay.
Right? And so like, that's a whole thing.
And those cricket games are very long too.
They're long. Cricket's a long game. Right? And so the other kids needs like art lessons, art projects, stuff like that. 3 years into this whole mess, the guru comes back, sees like the kid playing cricket out front, sees the other kid just like drawing on the walls of the cave, sees a cat. They got like a whole farm. Like, where's my disciple? This is the problem with material existence. It's like you can just get lost in just doing the daily. And that's why we say, what do we say? The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Yeah. Keep the main thing. And so even if you're complicated, because life gets complicated, we have kids, we have life, don't forget the main thing. In all the busyness of life, don't forget the main thing. Keep it there with you.
Okay. So here's the question. We want to keep the main thing, which means being freed of our false designations. Right. What's the formula for becoming free of those false designations?
Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya.
I was kind of sticking with the verse right here. That's a great one. I love that.
You sticking with the verse again.
Meaning to hear Bhagavatam every day. I'm all for that. But what will help us do that, what will help us maintain that, is this Hrishikesha, right?
Sure.
Taking the senses and keeping them, here it says purified, meaning they haven't become all muddled up in activity that they're not meant to be engaged in. The Hrishikena, that they're offered to Hrishikesha. The Hrishikesha means the Isha, the controller of Hrishika, of the senses. So ultimately, where did I get my sense? Where did I get this equipment? And who's empowering it to work? That's ultimately there's just like, there's different applications that we have on our phone that work, like Instagram, for instance, right? But that's only working because there's someone that's keeping Instagram going, right? Otherwise, your Instagram app, even though it's on your phone, it doesn't work. And so similarly, we have eyes and the power of sight, but that's only working because there's a deva, and that deva has Krishna behind them that's empowering sight to actually work. That's it's like an app, sight. It's like an app, the ability to hear, etc. And so there's a person that's empowering it all. There's a person that created it all. There's a person that ultimately it's meant to be connected with. Connect your senses to that master of the senses, and sevanam bhaktir uchate, right? This kind of service is called bhakti. Called bhakti. There you go.
All right, so where are we at now?
Well, now that was the last one. That was the last instruction. Now we're going to move on to text 28.
Wow.
And
Look at the
Sukadev,
Sanskrit
now we're going to
in
go
this
from
thing.
sage.
This is a huge verse.
A lot of the verses have been like that in this chapter.
Oh, really? I just haven't looked at
Prose.
them.
Yeah, it's prose.
Okay.
But now we're going from sage level 3, right? Which was
Yes.
sage level 3 was the story of Rishabdev speaking to his sons. Now we're going up to sage level 2. Shukadev Goswami has been telling this story to Maharaj Parikshit. We go back up to Shukadev Goswami, the 16-year-old naked transcendentalist.
For those who joined late, they're like, what? Yes, this is a story about a 16-year-old naked transcendentalist. Get used to it.
There's going to be more nudity coming in this next verse.
More nudity coming.
Okay.
Make sure if you have children listening to this. Okay. Sukadeva Goswami said, thus the great well-wisher of everyone, the Supreme Lord Rishabhadev, instructed his own sons. Although they were perfectly educated and cultured, he instructed them to set an example of how a father should instruct his sons before
Just to set the example. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Before retiring from family life.
Okay. So they knew this stuff, but he was setting the example. This is what you teach your kids when you're cutting out.
You know, I really have to write some instructions for my kids because you never know.
I want to hear the first one.
You never know when you could die. That might be the first one.
Okay.
Not understanding that I could die at any moment. I'm writing these for you.
Okay. I want to see that, Raghunath.
You want to see it? It could be a good book.
Yeah.
It could be a book.
It could be a book.
I should write a book. And that will be the instructions to the kids.
Okay.
That is a great idea.
instructions to the kids.
To their children, to the kids.
Number 1, you don't know when you're going to die.
Yes.
You never got to number 2.
If you're reading the... That's it. That's the book. The rest is like taking notes on that one.
All right.
Sannyasis who are no longer bound by fruitive activity. Like, I wish my father left me some instructions. My father, died.
Your mother has left you some important ones.
Having to do with jumping rope and eating stone fruit. Yes,
you
she
never
has.
go to the cops. You work it out in the neighborhood.
My mother has left me valuable instructions. That'll be a book too. Lord Rishabhadev. Okay. Where are we? Sannyasis who are no longer bound by fruitive activity and who have taken to devotional service after all their material desires have been vanquished, also learn by these instructions.
Nice.
Lord Rishabhadev instructed his 100 sons, of whom the eldest, Bharat, was very advanced devotee and the followers of Vaishnavas. So this is Bharat who became
a follower of Vaishnavas. Yeah.
He became King Bharat, and he's the one that fell in love with the deer, correct?
Yes, but before that, he'll be the king, and he'll be such an important king, such an influential king that India will be named after him.
He's the one India's named after. That's
to this
cool.
day. It's
to
called
this day,
Bharat, right?
It's still called Bharat. In Hindi, you say India, Bharat.
Yeah.
In order to rule the world, the whole world, the Lord enthroned his eldest son on the royal seat.
Okay.
Thereafter, although still at home,
what?
Excuse me, Lord Rishabhadev lived like a madman, naked with disheveled hair. Naked. More nudity, Kastuba, in this book.
That's what I'm telling you.
With disheveled hair. I think I would do disheveled hair if I had hair. Then the Lord took the sacrificial fire within himself, and he left Brahmavarta to tour the whole world.
Okay. So in other words, why is he doing this, Raghunath? If he's a sane man, if he's a gentleman, if he's a wise scholar, why is he disheveling his hair, taking off all his clothes, and wandering around the world?
It's a type of renunciation where you're sort of like, I'm not of this world anymore. So generally sages do one of two things. They just shave their head because there's a huge amount of ego in the hair. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
I mean, color your hair, dye your hair, fluff your hair. What did they do when we were kids? the women would do big things with their hair, like Farrah
Fawcett thing.
huge blow. I don't even know how they did it. Blow drying? Is that how they did it?
I think they took brushes and they kept going like this
with those
down the
round
side.
brushes and blowing it out. I mean, when I was little, my father used to put this stuff in my hair called stickum. It was like glue that would hold my hair down like I was in Devo, and it's like plastic hair.
Well,
and
when
then
I first got
there's
into punk, they had the what was it? Murray's pomade.
Pomade, yes. And then there was mousse. Remember the era of mousse in your hair? Then there was colored mousse or scented mousse. No one uses mousse scent. Bring back mousse. But anyway,
it's called hair gel now.
A hair gel, dippity do. These were all like pastes, etc. But these were all types of like things for
hair
your
spray.
hair. Then there's hair salons. Then there's haircuts. You know what I mean? And when I was little, you had to have your hair cut, parted in the center, and feathered back. Parted in the center. That was the look in the 70s. Yeah.
Oh, that was like what was that singer? Sean Cassidy.
Sean Cassidy. Parted in the center, feathered back. It was a look, and my hair could never do it. Look, the message board is going crazy.
Okay.
I couldn't. I had curly hair. All I wanted was feathered hair. It wouldn't work. I was frustrated. There is a photo of me. I'm going to post this photo. I look like so nuts with a sad attempt to feather my hair back. But anyway, my point is there's so much ego invested in the hair. And a lot of people, especially ladies, shave their heads sometimes just because they're like, you know what? I'm over this. And they feel so liberated. I shaved it to be cool. I thought it was cooler than having the U-shaped hair. But so I don't get the credit for that.
It's not for credit, Ragnar. That's not about
but the idea is also you'll see sometimes Vaishnavas grow beards, but it's also not trimmed and refined. It's sort of like
they don't not like groomed beards or whatever they call it.
No, it's like gross. That. It's not groomed. It's gross. It's supposed to be. The idea is like you're not paying attention to this stuff anymore.
You've been grooming your beard though, Ragnar.
I like grooming the beard. I like to do it. I'm still very much attached to presenting myself as cool. I don't know if you picked up on that.
You're a very handsome gentleman too. Ragnar,
thank you. Thank you. But the idea is they're like, you know what? It's over. I'm not presenting myself to nobody about nothing. And what they do is they're just out in the world doing their thing.
And I think Rishabh Dev here, even more so, it wasn't even like he was just like, okay, I'm not putting any more time into this. He actually wanted people to look at him and say, whoa, I'm back and, I'm keeping my distance from that guy because I think he's a little crazy. Because that gave him the space, right, to not have to constantly engage in like mundane talks and mundane exchanges, right?
Yep.
I think it had a lot to do with that as well.
The message board has a lot to say about hair fashion, etc. Okay.
Have you ever considered this, Ragnar?
Feathering my hair? Yes, I have. Didn't work.
I'm saying, like, imagine just like living for a week. Like we're about to hear the word avadhuta, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder what it's like to live like a week like that.
You get arrested. You'd get arrested. If I was walking around Chatham naked with my like hair growing out, they'd arrest me. But that's what they would do. I guess they wouldn't do that in India probably because they thought this person's like a sadhu or the person is just like
particularly if you're like up in the mountains or something.
Off the spectrum or something. Yeah, if you're up in the mountains, they're sadhu. They don't mess with you. Yeah. Or they think you're crazy or something like that. And I don't think they didn't like not incarcerate, what's the word? Like put people in mental institutions for crazy. I don't think I don't think they had mental institutions. I think they would just sort of let them be doing their thing.
I think there's a value in certain, like controlled thought experiments, right?
Yeah.
Like for instance, Vipassana retreat, right?
Go on a retreat, don't talk to anybody. Sure.
10 days, you don't talk to anybody. What's that going to do? Where's your mind going to go? You're going to go places you wouldn't have gone otherwise, hopefully in ways that are helpful.
Yeah.
You know what I did the other day, Ryan? I think this is something you would relate to.
You didn't talk for a day?
No. I was really tired.
So you took a nap?
Well, I lied down on my back, and I felt like I was like lying like a corpse. And then I began to think about what it would be like to die. You know, like you're lying here like this, right? And you're realizing that these are my last moments. And you're trying to feel like if I'm about to die, you know, we should say, and it's not a joking matter, but you know, one member of our society, you could say, is like now, you know, choosing to, you know, he's had cancer for some time, and now he's chosen, like, I'm going to let go now, right? Like my body's his body got to a certain point where he said, okay, I'm going to stop eating now. I'm just going to drink water, right? I mean,
Who
he's
did it?
choosing.
Someone is doing that right now? Is it?
Yeah, Kadamba Khan Maharaj. Yeah, did you hear
Wow.
that?
I
He's
didn't
in
realize
Vrindavan right now.
Wow, I didn't realize he was choosing to do that.
Yeah,
So he's doing a vow. He's doing a vow. I'm not going to eat or drink anything. I'm just going to get ready to leave my body.
I don't want to say necessarily he took a vow, but from what I heard, you know, there's a deterioration in a situation where he decided, okay, there's no point in trying to eat now and trying to maintain this. I'll drink water, and I'm preparing myself to exit. Like that.
So powerful, isn't it? When you're sort of like looking death in the eyes and just being like, I'm good with this, Krishna. Like, take away all my fears. I'm just focusing on you. It's beautiful. Right. It's so.
And he's had the opportunity to contemplate this for some time, right?
Sure.
You mentioned earlier, first rule number 1 is we don't know when we're gonna.
Yeah, someone could bonk me on the head with a candlestick.
But let's assume that we're not. Isn't it interesting that we could use time now to prepare for that moment, right?
Right.
And I mean, like, not just prepare, like, I mean, definitely prepare, like, contemplation, you know, practices for self-realization, but even ideas like lying down and considering what it must feel like, and how I'm going to reach out and what I'm going to say within my heart to God in those moments, so that when that time comes, I've kind of already visited that place, you know.
That's a good one. Did you like it? Did you like that meditation?
I did. And I wanted to do it more. I wanted to do it more often.
Okay, that's very good. That's very good.
I'm glad you approve.
You know, maybe I'll do an experiment with, like, being detached from the body too.
Maybe we should create a little,
not shave my chest next time it gets too hairy.
Shave your chest.
I'm going to keep the hair on my back. See, this is crazy, isn't it?
No, but in all seriousness, you know, maybe we ought to design a little led meditation where someone could go through those steps, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Text 29?
Oh, wait.
Are we done?
It's 56. Yes. We're pretty done-ish.
Okay.
How come ish is a new word? We should have been using ish our whole life. It's such a useful word.
It's not exactly a word, Raghunath. It's a suffix.
Well, thank you, Professor.
And we've been using it forever.
Oh, my God, Professor.
Okay.
Takeaways?
Give some takeaway. Give some scarves, Mara. You got to say it loud.
This is what's
loud.
Don't move the mic, though, because something weird happens.
Don't move the mic. Just get in front of my face here.
Bring on the transcendental pandemic.
Bring it on.
Work on yourself and also serve others.
Okay.
Yep.
Get out of the bathtub.
Get out.
It's been a week. Get out.
Been a week.
Even self-reflection needs guidance.
I like that a lot. I like that.
Thank you, Regan. That was me, that one.
That was yours. I'm giving you all props.
Okay, I'm glad you like it.
Mickey Mouse costumes won't satisfy us.
Shave your back. Don't shave your back. I think that's the lesson.
Don't hate the warden. Take responsibility for your crimes.
Love that. Don't hate the warden. Take responsibility for our crimes. Own it.
Own your crimes.
Radical responsibility. Stupid warden. No.
Don't attach your worth to a false designation.
Just brings pain.
Yeah, that's yes.
In all the busyness of life, keep the main thing the main thing.
That's the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
got the music queued up?
Bring back the moose.
Bring back
the moose. The moose is loose. What was that?
So we were talking about, Raghunath, when you were a kid, was there always like someone in the school that had the nickname Moose?
There was always a moose. Hey, moose.
Yo, Moose,
Like
what's
the
up?
Archies too.
Do they
Hey,
have
Bhakta
Moose?
Gravy's got his kid here. Hey, Bhakta Gravy.
Amy Stella uses
Gravy
Moose.
Jr. Oh, thanks everybody. Jiva G says, yeah, he was always
a jerk. Moose.
Moose. There was always
Wow.